Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another story time kind of video because I've been wanting to do one since my last one, but I was just trying to find a good topic and a good constructive way of telling the story. This will also kind of be me venting as well, so I apologize for that in advance. But maybe this is something you could, my stories, you can find these to be entertaining, or maybe you can take from it. I do want some of the stories I tell to kind of be helpful to other people who may encounter similar situations as they get older, or, maybe have encountered similar situations in the past and, can relate to it. So, excuse me, what am I talk about today? Well, I want to talk about friendships, relationships, and just trying to guide, trying to find your direction, I guess, as a young person, and just kind of dealing with people, how to handle certain situations. So for me personally, I can count on my finger. I said figure, count on my finger, my friends. I would say I have, like, at this point, like three genuine female friends and two genuine guy friends. My one guy friend, I'm sure they probably wouldn't care if I said their name on this video. I have one good friend named Tyler. He lives in Ohio, and I've mentioned in the past, I lived in Ohio for a year. We worked together at Kroger's, and he was a really good friend to me back then, and we had a lot of fun working together. So he's someone I of course still stay in contact with. Unfortunately, I haven't seen him since I left Ohio, but if we continue to be friends, when I'm in a better position, maybe I could go, because I have family who lives in Ohio, so maybe I will be able to visit him, at some point. My other good friend, Brian, we hadn't spoken for a couple of years. Um, he kind of dated, like, an ex-girlfriend of mine when we were in high school. Like, the person I dated when I was a junior, he dated her when we were seniors. And that was kind of breaking bro code. And at the time, it was kind of bothersome, but we're older now and we've passed all that. He's currently married to someone he met as a young adult. So, it's like, it's water under the bridge, basically. And some other stuff kind of happened in his personal life that I won't get into out of respect for him. But um, like I said, we kind of reconciled and rekindled our friendship. And currently, he's in the military and he's stationed in Texas, so he's doing really well for himself. And like I said, try to communicate with him like every couple of weeks or something, just to see how he's doing. Um, like I said, I have not my one female friend. She is also in Texas, but she's not in the military. She recently graduated from college. She's a marketing executive or something for a company. Again, she's doing really well. Uh, we haven't met yet for reasons, but like I said, we kind of have a movie night every once in a while where we're like on Skype together, and yeah, we've been good friends, for about a year, almost a year. So, hopefully that will continue to keep going. And then I have another friend who's a little bit younger, and me and her met through Gorillas of all things. We met through a Gorillas Facebook group, so we've been good friends ever since. But like I said, so to say all that, my friend group is small, but everybody's situation is different. One thing I do want to say, if you are a person who has a positive circle of friends, or you're someone who was fortunate enough to have a childhood friend who was still your friend, don't take that person for granted. Be very grateful and appreciative of the people you have. I know, to a degree, I need to take my own advice, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. I do want to say that because that's not everybody's situation. Everybody doesn't have a group of friends. Everybody doesn't have people they can just, call up and go get a pizza with, or go catch a movie with, or something like that. Everybody doesn't have that. So if you are someone who has that, be grateful, be thankful, tell your friends that you love them and they mean all, you value your friendship and all that good stuff. Because, like, what people say, especially when you get older, you don't know how long you're going to be here. Um, and yeah, so you want to appreciate what you got while you have it. So that's kind of my outlook with friends. And I would say I wouldn't say unfortunately. I mean, I understand. For me, sometimes friends come and go, and sometimes that's life. And the area that I've have grown up in for the last 14 years really isn't the best area, unfortunately. So a lot of the people, I had a decent friendship with, you know, in school, when we graduated, we kind of grew apart and everybody went their separate ways. And I know that's kind of part of the school experience sometimes, but, it was kind of a bummer. So, me getting on a platform and being able to express myself and talk about my hobbies and all that good stuff, it's very like therapeutic for me in a sense. Being a collector, making reviews and content on shows and anime and movies, all the things I love, all the pop culture things I love. Um, yeah, but so yeah, I guess that's the first segment that completes our thoughts and opinions on friendships, relationships. Oh Lord, I'm really not the right person to talk about relationships, honestly, but I have a lot to say from my experience dealing with girls or dealing with people in general. Um, what do I want to say? Um, well, the biggest thing, as a young person, a millennial, I hear a lot of people say, which is true. As I get older, I see how important that is. People say, "Oh, get yourself together first, and then down the road, focus on trying to find a partner, or that what you're seeking will come to you when you're together." And yeah, I agree. Now, on your path to finding yourself or getting to your goals, or if you're in school trying to complete school or whatever, during in that process of doing that, there is a possibility you can meet somebody. And if that happens and things work out, that's great. If it happens and things don't work out, learn from it, take away the positives from it, but don't let it tear you down. Don't let it make you fall back and lose sight of what your goals are, what you're trying to do. Because again, kind of like with friends, people come and go, and that's kind of part of dating and meeting people and forming relationships. It's unfortunate. I hate for someone to have possibly had their heart broken. Yeah, I would say I've kind of been heartbroken at one point. Looking back, it's kind of laughable now, the situation. um, because of like I said, it's kind of laughable looking back at the heartbreak because yeah, I didn't meet the person, but I'll get to that. Maybe I'll get to that in a little bit. Um, but for me, like, I don't know, this is like meeting people is hard, and that's something I kind of hear people kind of say nowadays. Like, people don't want to go on like a traditional date. People don't want to put in the effort to get to know someone or to form a proper relationship, because like even when I was in school, I was kind of like, how are people dating? Like, how are people getting into relationships? And yet, like, I'm a decent, genuine person, and I'm struggling to find, to date someone I'm interested in, or someone who's on my level, like, so that always bothered me. Like, some stories, some slightly off topic stories I want to say. Um, like, for example, I had a friend. I'll try to make this quick. I had a friend in middle school and early high school. We rode the bus together. I liked her. I had a crush on her, but of course I was younger, so I really didn't know how to like approach her in that way. Like, outside of being a friend, I didn't know like how to tell her about my feelings. But I think she kind of had the same feelings for me at one point, but because we drifted apart, got older, we never really acknowledged our feelings towards each other. Um, so a couple years ago, she worked at a Target near the area to where I live. By that point, I hadn't seen her since like high school. So, and another random thing, when I was away in Ohio, she just randomly out of the blue texted me Happy Valentine's Day. And I mean, it was sweet of her to do that, but it was like we haven't spoken in, a couple like since high school. Like, it was just weird that you would randomly text me that. But again, like I said, it was very sweet of her to do that. Um, yeah, so like I said, I saw her at her job. I'm assuming she was on the clock or she was in training. So she ran up and gave me a hug, and then she went on her way. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, maybe we could rekindle our friendship and see where things go. So the second time, which was maybe like a month or so later, I saw her and I was able to actually have a conversation with her for maybe like 10 minutes or something because she was still on the clock. So, you know, I didn't want her to get in trouble. Um, and we just kind of briefly caught up and told me what she'd been up to. I told her what I'd been up to. And I asked if I could have her number so we can maybe get together and do something. And first indication, red flag. Um, this part is kind of a first indication. Um, she was kind of hesitant to give me her number, and I really didn't catch on to that. So she put her number, she typed it in my phone, and I was like, well, just to make sure my phone saves it, call me or whatever. And she acted kind of hesitant to do that. So she called me, and you know, my phone rang, and I was like, okay, cool, you know, said her goodbyes. I said I'll text her later. Um, so me, of course, I try not to get, when I talk to people, talk to new people, I try so hard not to get overexcited because, and that's sad to say, but for me, like I've had so many negative, you know, encounters or experiences with people, mostly girls, and when it comes to trying to, you know, date or, you know, just get to know someone. But not to say, I'm not saying all girls can be like that, but I've dealt with a large majority of girls who, like I said, just didn't take the time to get to know me, didn't acknowledge um, the how genuine of a person I am. Um, I've heard so many people say, like, so many females have told me, like, "Oh, you're so sweet," and stuff like that. And it's like, so you acknowledge that I'm sweet, so you're aware of it, but you still like take me for granted, or you still don't like realize, like, like he's a really nice guy. I should, you know, continue to talk to him or just see where things go. Now, in some cases, I've had a few L's when it came to possibly having a good friendship or a good relationship with people. But those are far and in between. Those very few rare occasions that has happened, and I've tried my best to learn from those mistakes. But mass majority, it's always the other person. Anyway, back to the story before I get off topic. Um, yeah, so excuse me. So later that day, you know, I was excited, like, oh man, I'm excited we can catch up and see where things go. And texted her a couple times. I know people say not to triple text, you know, so uh, never heard anything back. I just thought it was, you know, like weird, like, okay, like, why haven't I heard back from you? So we, at the time, we followed each other on Instagram, and I may have rather got on her page out of curiosity, or I saw she posted something, and well, the answer was she had a boyfriend, and it was someone I knew of, and like he went to school with us. I knew of him, but I don't think I knew him personally, and he, like I said, I don't know the person personally, so I don't want to say anything negative about him. But let's just say, maybe in the eyes of other people, I would be considered like a nine or an eight in regards to the type of guy I am, you know, physically and personality wise and all that stuff. This person, again, I don't know them personally, but they look like they were a little bit lower down, a little bit lower ranked than me. um, and I don't mean that to come off bias or anything, but yeah. So uh, yeah, so I'm like, okay, she had a boyfriend. And my thing, see, with me, I'm really big on communication. If I'm big on talking to someone and having a conversation, I'm big on talking things out because that's part of being a young adult. That's part of being mature. All those things. So I was, let me check something. Um, okay. I had to check my notifications. Yeah, I was just kind of like, all you had to do was just tell me you had a boyfriend, and I would have understand. And like you, I mean, yes, it had been some years since we've spoken and seen each other, but I mean, I would think you would have known the kind of person I was back in school, and I wouldn't like jump down someone's throat or get up in their face or call them out on some bull crap. Um, yeah. So it's like I wouldn't have like I would have understood like if you told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend, we may not really be able to hang out or do anything." I would have understood. But I mean, we still could have been friends. Like I said, we I was somebody you were friends with in school. So I mean, there was nothing wrong with us still um periodically communicating with each other just to see how we were doing. So to me, like I said, that was just very petty and silly, and it was uncalled for. And this is one of many experiences I've had when it came to girls and all types of crazy stuff. And I saw her one more time, well, after that, and we gave each other a hug, but it wasn't like genuine. It was like it was like just a light hug. But I didn't care because she says like I was walking like down the aisle, right, heading to the checkout area in the front of the store, and she was walking in the opposite direction. So if I'm walking this way, she was walking that way. So yeah, it would have been kind of weird for us just to like ignore each other. So out of niceness, I think she gave me a hug back, but like I said, I didn't care, because I was like, you were petty, you were silly for not just talking to me, and telling me the truth. Anyway, that's that's one story. Another story. Another thing that's really sad, because like my mom used to ask me this, and now I think she understands why. When I would see someone I went to school with, and I would say like, "Oh, I may say me and that person had a class together, or I know that person." She would always say, "Well, why don't you go speak to them?" And I'm like, nah, not really. I don't want to." And she always thought that was weird, and like it depended on the person. Like if it's someone I was friendly with, or maybe if I was friends with, then yeah, maybe I wouldn't mind saying hello and catching up. And I've done that a few times with a few people I've ran into outside of school. But if it was someone I just like, maybe we had a class together, maybe we knew each other, but we really didn't talk all that much, then no, I wasn't gonna bother to talk to them. Um, so couple months ago, me and my family went to go see. I'm trying to think, what movie did we go see? Oh, it's gonna bother me. Um, Trying to think what movie. Oh, we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was a lot of fun. I don't know why people were saying that movie was kind of meh. It was really good. Really liked that movie. Um, yeah. So the person so when I met this person in school, they were a grade under me. I had to retake math because I'm not good at math, and even though I did my best, I still didn't move on to I still didn't move on to geometry. So this was in high school. I took algebra as a freshman. I didn't pass it, so I had to take algebra again my second year. And yeah, I had to take algebra again when I was a sophomore, and it kind of messed me up as my high school career went on, but eventually I was able to graduate on time. I passed everything, so yes, that very fortunate that happened. But anyway, um, so me and the person had algebra together when I was a sophomore. They were freshmen. Um, they were, I mean, they were kind of like, I'm trying to think. Like our personalities were just different. Like I'm kind of bubbly, you know, I can be an introvert at times. I can be very quiet and to myself at times, but around, the right people, around certain people, I can be bubbly and talkative and, you know, like I said, genuine. And for the most part, I'm a fairly, I try to be. I have my days. I'm a fairly positive individual, and that's how I try to project myself when I'm around other people. But yeah, so this person was a little bit of the opposite. I'm trying to find a way to explain it. They were just they just came up. They were just brought up differently than me. But we kind of had I would say we did kind of have a friendship, but it was more of like we respected each other. Like they could tell like you're not really like all the other guys at the school or that type of thing. Um, so of course after we had that one class together, I don't really think I saw them all that much after that. So I recognized them. They were at the ticket counter in the movie theater when they tell you, you show them your ticket, they scan it, and they tell you your movie will be in theater 1A or whatever. And I recognized them. I was like, oh, cool, so and so works here. But I wasn't going to say anything because, like I said, I choose not to speak to people I went to school with. And I had on a face mask, and she was still able to recognize me. And I was like, okay, cool, and um, so I kind of briefly spoke to her, and we kind of briefly chit chatted, and I said, well, give me your number, and I'll, text you later. We could talk later, whatever, catch up, and she was cool with that. She gave it to me. Um, so I was like, okay, cool, we'll see again, you know. I could never see myself being with this person romantically, but I was like, they're older now. I'm a little bit older. We're both older now. You know, maybe just see where things go. You never know where things will go between you and another person. So just wanted to see where things would go. Um, so, I heard from her later that evening, and it the interaction, it was okay. It was cool. We briefly caught up. They were doing really well for themselves, which I'm happy for them. To make something of themselves. But they were really they didn't. But them themselves, like even though she was doing good, she was following her dreams. She still didn't see it as like she's achieved much. If that makes sense, like you may be successful, but mentally you still feel like what you've done hasn't been enough, I guess, if that makes sense. Um, and like her just all around demeanor was just kind of like negative, and it's like we could barely have a conversation, like outside of like, how are you? How was work? What did you eat today? What did you do today? How are you feeling? Outside of like little things like that, outside of that, we couldn't like have a conversation about anything else. And that kind of hindered how how much we could really communicate with each other. So the person just kind of like, I don't know how we got on the topic, but I was just kind of like, I want to get to know you more. I want to be closer with you and be able to have more conversations. And they kind of, I guess they kind of weren't really fully understanding what I was trying to say, and they were kind of like, I'm not really interested in pursuing anyone right now, or um, I'm not really into you like that. And I wasn't even implying well, obviously no, like let's date. It's like we have to, like we couldn't even establish a proper friendship first. So if we can't even establish a proper friendship, dating is just as way out of the question anyway. But and again, my current situation, I don't know if that possibly had an effect on, them. Oh, look at the time. Them, not wanting to pursue me in that way. That's a possibility, but it's like, at the same time, like I was just trying to be a good friend towards you. You know, she hadn't, I guess she hadn't hung out with anyone in a couple years. She had just kind of been focusing on work, which, you know, for some people that's understandable. Um, she was in a 6-year relationship with somebody, and the boyfriend cheated on her, and you know, I felt for her with that. I know what it's like to be cheated on, so you know, I understood where she was, you know, coming from with that. So again, it's like a decent, genuine person, me, you know, comes into your life who, you know, could be a positive individual to be friends with, or possibly be more than friends down the line, and you just kind of take it for granted, or don't acknowledge it, or, you know, don't see it. Excuse me. Get a drink of water. Um, so, um, sorry, mouth is getting a little dry. All this talking. So yeah, you don't. I mean, you didn't, take advantage of a friendship we possibly could have had between each other. And you know, when I shared the situation to my mom, I read to her some of the messages. She kind of had a better understanding of why I'm like, so like, this is why I don't talk to people I went to school with. You know, if I see them in public, I don't say anything, because this is always the outcome. The outcome is, for the most part, always negative, or ends in disappointment, ends in regret, ends in a waste of time. And not to say that would be with everybody, and that goes for viewers who if you may see someone you may have knew or may have been friends with in school, you haven't seen them in a couple of years. Again, I think it just depends on the person. You know, if you knew this person, y'all had a good relationship, friendship, then yeah, it doesn't hurt to you know, say hey to them and catch up and see where things go. You don't know where that may lead to. But if they were someone you were like, oh no, I don't want to talk to that person, then keep it to moving. Yeah, you have a right to keep it to moving and not say anything. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I still have the person's contact, with the possibility if they ever bother to respond back to me. But like I said, I have no intention on talking to them anymore. Like I said, it's like, why would you bother to, if this is what the outcome was going to be, why would you bother to talk to me? It's like, you just, you know, like, why? Yeah. So that was that. So that's 2 stories with two females I went to school with. So, but like I said, the biggest thing is just do you. Don't let others hinder you, or you know, prevent you from pursuing what you want to do in life, or focusing on yourself. If you are someone who's been through bad breakups, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever you had to deal with or go through, or what the other person possibly did to you, or what you may have done to the other person, and now you regret what you did. I'm sorry. Sometimes that happens. We have to learn from those mistakes. People, you know, people come and go. It's just kind of part of dating. I know it sucks, but you know, eventually, grace of God, that you will meet someone like myself. You'll meet someone who is the right person for you, and you can grow and have longevity with this special person. I'm trying to think. So like for me, this video is almost 30 minutes, so I don't want to be too long. Like for me, I've only had like 3 girlfriends, really, like realistically, 3, 2 in high school, which I mean, with those, with the first one, it was more of, I took it more seriously than she did. There were like moments where she took it seriously, but then there were moments when she didn't. Like say if we had the same friends, people we were friends with, and they asked me like, oh, you and so-and-so are dating? I'm like, yeah, they're my girlfriend. And then they may ask her and I'm not present, and she'll be like, oh, we're not dating. And you could look at that as you don't want people to know your business. And I get that part. But on the other hand, it's like, well, if they're people we're both friends with, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't, um, like, you shouldn't feel the need to not talk about or not acknowledge you being in a relationship with someone. I don't know. So I looked at it in two different ways, but again, that kind of bothered me a little bit. So of course, we broke it off, but she was like my first genuine girlfriend. Again, I try to learn from that. Second girlfriend, she went to another school, but the school was like in driving distance from mine. I would see her at the library almost every day after school. We hadn't seen each other since middle school. She was my type of girl. She was bubbly. She was sweet. She was in the arts. She went to a performing arts school. But her issue was, say if she was dating someone and she lost interest in that person, she'd start talking to someone else before breaking it off with the previous person or the person she's currently with. She was doing that with someone who went to my school. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I'm like, well, she's talking to me now, so like, why do I care about this other person she's trying to break up with? But she eventually down the road, she ended up doing that to me. And yeah, again, maturity, immature. Like, why do you just talk to me and say you want to break things off? Again, if you had talked to me and broken up, yeah, I would have been sad and probably would have been upset. But at least you talked to me instead of doing it behind my back. So, yeah, that was girlfriend number 2. Girlfriend number 3 lived in Florida. This was like a couple years after I graduated. Long distance. We were FaceTiming almost every day. Yeah, I mean, I'll say we weren't really right for each other. Like, type of person I am, type of person she was. We really weren't compatible. But I do feel like she was a good girlfriend. She and in certain she had good girlfriend moments. She had a lot of personal stuff going on with herself that she needed to deal with, and let's just say that at the time, I was like the nicest person she had dated, and we never even met, and that's really, really sad. Um, it's a possibility if we hadn't met, we could have, I doubt if we would still be together by this point, but we possibly could have lasted a lot longer than what we did. Um, so yeah, again, that was a life lesson. Then the person went and dated a homeless person after me. So that's a whole another story. But once they did that, I lost all respect for them after that. But anyway. So like I said, I haven't had the best luck with girls, and there's, other things that you could add to that. Location, where I am. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. So I think I've said I have a car. I have my driver's license. Currently, my car isn't running. My dad is going to get it fixed for me at some point. So at some point, I'll try to be more mobile and, try to go to more social events and maybe try to meet people. I might go to MomoCon this year, Atlanta's Comic-Con. There's a possibility I can meet people there. If that was to happen, that'd be wonderful. So yeah. So like I said, just personal things about myself, factors about myself. Currently I'm talking to, at this point, I want to say like I'm talking to two and a half females. Again, I have a lot of experiences like of talking to someone, but it never leading to anything else or never going anywhere. That happens a lot, unfortunately. Like I said, one of the people I'm talking to, I was supposed to have a date with last the Friday that just passed. So this recording is Tuesday, so last Friday. They canceled for reasons which, are understandable. I mean, there's, just one minor setback. We'll see, try to meet up another time in a couple weeks. So, like I said, don't want to overthink that one, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The other person, uh, again, lives a little farther away, but they live in driving distance. That again, with that one, like I said, one of my pet peeves is communication. Like, even if you're busy, and I understand people's schedules are really different and busy and all that stuff. If you're talking to someone, I feel like you should make the time to communicate with them. Like with me, like when I was at my old job, if I was talking to someone, I would be like, hey, these are the hours that I'm on break. I may try to text you in between. Don't want you to think like I'm ignoring you or anything. Just want you to know I'm at work or whatever. And when I am on my break, I'll try to hit you back. That's showing you that you care about the person. They hold some level of importance to you. And yeah, that you're serious about trying to date them or trying to pursue them or whatever. That's just a level of communication. So this other person, like I said, the communication is very sporadic. So it's like, if we can't establish communication, how are we possibly going to schedule a date or anything like that? So like I said, it's kind of up in the air how far that situation will go, but we'll see. And like I said, the third person is just someone new I'm talking to. Again, don't know if that'll go anywhere, but we'll see. Like I said, you never know. The next person you talk to could be future girlfriend or future wife or future partner, whatever. You never know. So with me, that's what's current with me and trying to talk to people and date and all that stuff. Like I said, my last date was like 2021 around Christmas, and it was okay. It was all right. Me and the person really weren't compatible. We met through Tinder, so yeah. Also, if you're using a dating app, be smart. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything crazy. Try to establish FaceTiming first. If anything, try to establish FaceTiming. And then if that goes well, then try to establish a date. Like, try to meet them somewhere. That's what me and my other female friend I was supposed to meet up with last week. That's what we were trying to do. Meet up somewhere. So yeah, if you're using a dating app, just be safe. That's all I can say. The last time I hung out with friends was like also 2021. Again, that was a situation I myself pushed for. If I hadn't pushed for, the three of us wouldn't have hung out that day. I tried to build, I tried to do all the right things, and they weren't, the energy wasn't being reciprocated, so it didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere from there. And these are people who I considered best friends in high school. One of them was a guy, one was a girl. So yeah. Trying to remember. Like I said, when I was in Ohio, I'm along with Tyler, I met some other people we worked with and had a lot of fun. And I really miss that. That was a really fun experience. I really miss being able to do that. So, yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, so that's just me personally. So like I said, that's why, because of my current situation, homebody, introvert, I just kind of do me and, do what makes me happy. But at the same time, it's like, deep down, I know, like, life can't always be like this. Eventually, I'm going to have to, be more social. And, I want to be able to have a large group of friends that I could do stuff with again, but, Yeah, hope you enjoyed. I know a little all over the place, but kind of had a lot to say. I always have a lot to say. I just wanted to do something, try something different. Um, tell a few story times. Um, yeah, so that's it for this story time. Not sure what the next one. Again, maybe some more stories. Not just on relationships, but just like dealing with people. Next review or next video might be a re-review. I'm thinking of uploading a compilation of my TikToks, like all the 3-minute TikToks. I'm thinking of doing like a compilation of those, and then I will maybe just upload the 10-minute reviews as a single video. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys.